I'm Nick Altmeyer with linkinglewiscounty.com. Here today with Casandra Buell, Director of Lewis County Planning and Community Development. We got Ryan Piche, County Manager, Lewis County Manager, and Joe Beagle, who is Mayor of the Village of Lowville. So as many of you probably heard, some very exciting news yesterday for the Village of Lowville. Lowville was announced as the North Country recipient for the $10 million downtown revitalization initiative through New York State. So we wanted to bring you guys together. We know, first of all, congratulations. All three of you have put in so much hard work on this project, and it wasn't just a this year application. You guys have been going, I think this was your fourth
application.
Fourth application. So why don't you tell us a little bit, Joe? We'll start off with you. What's it mean to the village to be awarded this downtown revitalization grant?
I think it's a great thing for the village because we have a lot of projects that were in the DRI that now we can go forward and get some of those projects started once we have the committee meetings and decide which ones will be funded.
Right.
And we'll get some of these older buildings that are all boarded up on the second and third floors. We'll get some new apartments in them and put some life back into downtown.
Right. So we're going to go through kind of some of the, what the progression is going to look like, coming up in the next few years with all these projects. Just wanted to point out too that this grant is awarded to the village, so it's going to be the village and state working in partnership to fulfill the projects, things like that. But the county has played like a very significant role in the process to the state. So we wanted to invite Casandra, with Director of Planning, and Ryan in for this first initial interview because so much work went into you guys getting this grant. So Casandra, can you just tell people a little bit about what it takes to put, your expertise was very important in getting this all off the ground and getting, a 40-page application together for a project like this.
It has been years in the making and certainly a team effort. I mean, we worked with multiple agencies, parties. This particular application, we worked alongside closely with Naturally Lewis and the Village of Lowville to complete the application without a lot of input from a team of consultants. So it's the first year that we kind of took the dive on our own, and it came out to be a huge benefit for the Village of Lowville. So we're pretty proud. It's been a ride four applications later, but we finally are able to realize the fruits of our labor on that. But we're excited for the planning ahead. It'll be a year's worth of really in-depth planning with local officials, community members, stakeholders, and we're excited to see all of these plans finally come to fruition.
And you'll still be involved in the process. I mean, the village will be setting up committees and things like that. So along the way, your office, your staff, and yourself are going to be there to assist them with, any help that they need with this kind of thing. Yes,
we're always ready and willing to play that supportive role to any of our villages, especially the Village of Lowville, with this grant opportunity for them. So what will happen now is state and village officials will come together with a local planning committee and a team of consultants through the help of the state and the portion of the funding that the village has received. And this local planning committee will assess. They'll do public outreach. They'll re-solicit the businesses, the agencies that submitted projects for the application. That system will essentially be resought. So the solicitation, you'll see the solicitations, the public outreach for those projects go forth again in the coming months, and they'll take those new projects, old projects that were submitted on the applications, and they'll evaluate them on their project readiness, the funding applicability, where they rate against each other, what the village really wants to vision and match it up with everything. So this is where the work begins. I mean, the applications have been work, but this is where the rubber meets the road and the hard work really starts. And we're excited to see everything start being initiated.
So as the committee gets put together and you guys start, moving forward things, basically you'll review all the information. Just because a project's not in there now doesn't mean that maybe a project doesn't get submitted, for consideration. Basically at that point, the committee's going to build their strategic plan, which is
That's
required by the state.
Correct.
And that will be kind of like your final working document for moving forward with which projects are selected for which amounts of money and that kind of thing?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, and Ryan, as the county manager, you know, Village of Lowville is the county seat for Lewis County. You know, there's been some talk about, you know, this is a downtown revitalization grant. So it doesn't even pertain to the entire Village of Lowville. You know, strict boundaries were set, you know, for kind of a compact downtown area. How does this benefit the county in general, though, by Lowville receiving this money?
Well, it's very important. I mean, Lowville is obviously the government head of the community, but it's also the industrial center of Lewis County. We have more manufacturing right here in the village than we have any place else in the county. And it's also the commercial, center point of the community. There's, you know, Lowville's where a lot of your shopping opportunities are. And it's really our center for healthcare as well, because we have the Lewis County Hospital and nursing home that are here. So, you know, a lot of people that don't necessarily live in downtown Lowville utilize and go through the village every day, whether you're working here or shopping here or whether you're a Lowville resident. So in terms of impact, it's obviously much larger than just the folks who live within a couple blocks of downtown Lowville. It's also important because if we want to continue, you know, to have economic development, if we want more businesses to come here, if we want, more industry in Lewis County, right? That's what people say they want more than anything is good paying jobs here in Lewis County. We have to be able to recruit those businesses, and we have to be able to recruit a talented labor pool. Talk about the health system, right? You know, it's something that everyone in Lewis County cares a great deal about is our hospital.
Right.
Your health system is only good as your healthcare providers. And in order to keep really good healthcare providers here, we have to be able to provide a quality of life that they want to be a part of. If you've been in medical school for a decade in Boston or New York or Buffalo or even Syracuse, it's a bit of a change to come here to Lowville. So, you know, what can we do to make sure that our downtown, you know, is quaint, has the types of shops and restaurants and quality of life elements that people can see themselves living here and being a part of our community.
Right. So, Joe, you mentioned before, you know, part of the importance to you was cleaning up some of the blight, some of the blighted buildings, you know, getting the apartments cleaned up and vacancies filled in those and getting those refurbished and remodeled, along the downtown core here. What are some of the other components of the project that, aren't necessarily, buildings, you know what I mean? Like, I think, there's talk of some walking trails, things that people can take advantage of, even if you're not a resident of the village, you work here on your lunch break, things like that.
Well, one thing I'm hoping that we can do possibly with the DRI, and it's a small project, but over here by the movie theater, putting a handicap accessible walkway down through there, especially now that they're renovating the apartments on Shady Ave. They're going to need a decent access from Shady Ave down to the parking lot down there behind the common.
Right.
So that would be one project. That's a public project, and then we're going to be doing some work in the Veterans Park, so it'd be nice that we could maybe get some funding from the DRI to help maybe build a splash pad over there along that line.
Right, very good.
And then I guess if the state would let us, I would love to see the quarter down there by Forest Ave and Trinity, those buildings upgraded and an apartment in the marketplace that they'd like to put in there done.
Kind of like the Three Trees neighborhood concept that you presented to the village board a few months ago.
And then if the county puts their walking trail down through there, I mean, with the marketplace, everything would be perfect.
Right. And I think it's important to note too, I mean, it came up in the press conference yesterday, with the governor's office, but $10 million is a very large investment for a community the size of Lowville. But we're not just talking a $10 million investment, because a lot of times, you're going to have, a lot of these projects are going to have matching funds attached to them. Business owners are going to be putting up a portion of the, so you're really talking about a lot more than $10 million in development that's going to happen.
the best case scenario and what the state wants to see is that this $10 million is an investment from the state that we leverage and turn it into $20 or $30 million, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
If we can use some of the money for part of the walking trail, but also the county puts in some money. If we can use some of the money for some of the facades and some of the blight removal and getting those second and third floors up and running, it should be some public money, but also private.
Right.
Those business owners and property owners need to step up and put in some of their capital as well. So the goal would be to take a $10 million investment and turn it into a $20 or $30 million. That's what the state really wants to see.
Right. Very, very good. So, obviously we talked about it before. This is the kind of thing, especially with all the partnerships involved in it, being a project led by the state. You're not going to see shovels in the ground and, boards coming off windows tomorrow. This is probably going to be a year or two down the road. Like the planning process is a huge part of the initial.
Yeah, so the planning process will take about a year.
Okay.
It's typically taken about a year. And then after that, once the SIP, the Strategic Investment Plan, is submitted to the state and it's finalized through the state, then everything will be locked in as to which projects are receiving which money or which funds, and then agreements can move forward at that point. So we would expect to start really getting excited about construction maybe spring of 2025.
Okay.
Realistically, but.
Right.
That's with a whole year's worth of planning that we really want to make sure that the public is engaged and a part of.
Right.
Because like Ryan and Mayor Beagle had alluded to, this is really for the community. It's not just the village in the downtown Lowville area. A majority of the residents in Lewis County and even the surrounding communities filter through Lewis County, and that was one of the highlights of the application is that there's 4 or 5 different heavily trafficked New York State corridors that all come together in the village
Right.
of Lowville.
Merger.
So-
Yeah.
People don't realize how heavy of a corridor it is until you look into the
Until you
data.
try to pull out of
Until
your
you look at
driveway in the afternoon.
Right. So it's just very important that everybody
On a
is
Friday
involved
afternoon in the summer.
Right.
and that your voices are heard on what projects are more meaningful to the community, because the voices will be taken into consideration.
Very good. So, and you guys, all 3 of you guys are great about sharing information and making the public aware when things like this are coming up. So I'm sure that it will be the same with this case. As public meetings are scheduled and committees are being put together, you guys will reach out and let people know when and where things are happening.
Yes, the local planning committee will be in charge of that with the assistance of state officials, village officials, and a team of consultants. So there will be, you'll see a lot of publicity come out, a lot of information come out in the coming months.
Most of the winners have, and I don't know if it's required, Cassie might know, but most of the winning communities have set up a website for their DRI,
Yes.
Right.
so that you've got a landing page with all that information.
Right. Very
Pretty
good.
standard.
Very good. Well, again, main point of having you guys come in today, and thank you for coming in, was basically just let people know what's going on with the project, what to expect a little bit coming up, in the next year or so with all the planning and everything. And the biggest thing was, just congratulations to all 3 of you and not just the 3 of you, like you said, naturally Lewis, even people on the village. I know Tim Widrick, one of the village trustees, has put a lot of effort into this. Paul Denise, your DPW superintendent, has worked a lot on these projects. So it really is an effort where, it's nice to see the village and the county and all the departments, working together for something great for the community. So congratulations on your efforts. And did anybody have anything else to add before we wrap up?
I would just like to add, just double down on what you just said, Nick. Naturally, Lewis was an absolutely great partner in all this, and will obviously be involved going forward. But congratulations to the mayor. I mean, at the end of the day, the county is a support mechanism, but this is a win for the village. And a big win. So, congrats.
Very good. Thank you guys for coming in today. We appreciate your time.